It's Sunday, so you know what that means. It's time for another riveting, exciting edition of the Triple Threat video series. I got 3 topics that I want to talk about this week, and I guess there's no better time to start than right now. And the first thing I want to talk about today is the WWE's use of phony baloney numbers to try and artificially prop up the appeal of their product and just how dangerous it is to the company. Recently, CFO George Barrios at a conference said that in the top 16 global markets around the world, 159 million households have some type of affinity for WWE. Affinity meaning that they have feelings for it, that they like it, have some type of relationship with it, however you want to define affinity. And this is kind of piggybacking off of previous statements made by the company that up to 62 million households in the United States have some type of affinity for WWE. And I've just asked myself, and I asked the WWE, where in the bluest of blue fucks do you come up with these bullshit imaginary numbers? And they clearly are imaginary. And the fact that you continue to pump these imaginary numbers out there leads me to believe that you as a company, you actually believe this bullshit. And if you actually believe this bullshit, you believe that you are doing far, far better than you actually are. And if you are believing this bullshit, as I believe you are as a company, it shows just how dangerous the mindset is within the company today. You're also talking about George Barrios, a guy that said that the WWE network has the potential to get up to somewhere between 3 to 4 million subscribers down the road. And perhaps, you know what, perhaps that is true. But even in that case, what does that indicate for the WWE? They're telling you that these numbers are bullshit. Or they're telling you that their network is a complete and total disaster. Because in the entire world, if you have 159 million households just in the top 16 global markets having an affinity for your product, and yet you could only manage to get 3 to 4 million of them to subscribe to your network, that is a huge fucking problem. That is less than 5% of those people that have an affinity for your product. And even domestically here in the United States, if you're saying 62 million households have an affinity for your product, even though barely 4 million of those households actually watch Raw on a consistent week-in, week-out basis, now you're telling me that just over 5% of that audience just domestically and far less than 5% of that audience, less than 3% of that audience internationally would actually subscribe to your WWE network. What the fuck does that say about your network? Or what does that say about the fantasy land that you're living in terms of the broad scope, reach, and appeal of your product both domestically and internationally? There is no way, and I mean no way, that the WWE could sit there with a straight face and actually convince me or anybody else of rational, sound mind and body that they have 160 million households in the top 16 global markets that have an affinity for WWE. Or that there's 62 million households that have the same thing. Because if that was the case, you would sell out every show everywhere you went, and you would fill 100,000 seat stadiums plus every show you did domestic and international. You wouldn't be sitting there and failing to sell out Survivor Series. You'd be selling far more pay-per-views and have far more WWE Network subscriptions than you actually fucking do. This company needs to stop the bullshit, and they need to stop fooling themselves, lying to us, and most importantly of all, lying to them damn selves. 159 million people have an affinity for your product in the top 16 global markets. Get the fuck out of here. And 4 million subscribers based off that numbers would be a good thing? Really? Get the fuck out of here. It was funny, I was looking on Twitter last night during UFC 100, whatever the fuck show it was. I don't really care. And I was getting great amusement. I was enjoying myself, and I had to fight and resist the temptation to start picking on people and start picking fights with people to try and make and establish a point of mine. This is not with fans. No. This is actually with wrestling people. Because how hilarious was it to me last night to see so many people that are either currently involved in professional wrestling or have been in the past that are sitting there and tweeting about the UFC and talking about the UFC show. And furthermore, doing it in a manner and doing it in a fashion of which, if we do that when it comes to professional wrestling, we are referred to as schmarks, or marks that don't understand, and skip-de-skip and whoop-de-woo. We're getting insulted, we get talked about. But then these guys are doing the same goddamn thing that we're doing, and they're acting like fucking us. Like I said before, and I stand by it because it is true, the biggest marks when it comes to professional wrestling are the people that have been and still are in professional wrestling, both with the product and with other products as well. It'd be one thing if they were sitting there tweeting about their own shows and talking about wrestling, and all that's fine and good, because at least you're trying to pump up your own fucking business. But how ridiculous is it to see people that were involved in professional wrestling trying to give attention to and giving emphasis to a product in the UFC that has directly taken a large portion of professional wrestling's fan base away? This is not like tweeting about football or basketball, other established products that have been around, frankly, before the WWE, let's say, and been around, just about as long as professional wrestling, that have different fan bases, and you have fans that watch wrestling that also watch this. Well, in a lot of cases when it comes to UFC, sure, you have a certain segment that watches both wrestling and UFC, but a lot of people that watch UFC are the ones that used to watch wrestling and no longer do. So again, why in the fuck do these people involved in professional wrestling, in past or present circumstances, continue to insist on putting over the fucking UFC? If you're going to be a mark for anything, be a mark for your fucking self. Be a mark for your fucking business. Don't be a mark for a fucking business that has been directly responsible for taking money out of your pockets. We're directly responsible for taking away a sizable portion of your fucking fan base. You are sitting there and cheering on the fucking competition. This would be like during the height of the Monday Night Wars, if Twitter was around and all the WWE performers, all they were tweeting about was how awesome WCW was. Does that make any fucking sense? No! These wrestling marks, and I mean people in the business and wrestlers that are marking out for the UFC, need to stop this shit. Put over your own product, you stupid fucks. Stop putting over one that is taking money out of your goddamn pockets. And I'm the idiot? And other people like me are the idiots? And we're the marks? Excuse the fuck out of me! And the last thing I want to talk about here is just me as a fan of professional wrestling right now. I stopped watching Ring of Honor a couple years ago. I tried watching NXT this year earlier on and stopped doing it. Watched TNA for years. Always kind of had a love-hate relationship with them. I've stopped watching them. I stopped watching SmackDown a couple of years ago. I'm pretty much just down to watching Raw, or trying to suffer through Raw and then watching WWE pay-per-views, and that's it. And I never intended for it to be that way, and I don't really want it to be that way. But I also know that the industry, by and large, hasn't given me a reason to be more invested in it. So I guess I actually come to you guys. And I want to hear from you. I'm looking to watch another wrestling product besides Raw. What should I watch again? What do you think I should watch again, and why? What would you like me to review, and why? At least give it a shot maybe for a couple of months. Do you want me to start watching and reviewing SmackDown? Do you want me to start watching and reviewing Impact when it comes back on? Do you want me to start watching and reviewing ROH? Do you want me to start watching and reviewing Lucha Underground? NXT? Should I check out New Japan? I don't know. I'd like to find out something else, but I'm just not sure I want to go back to TNA. I could, I guess. I don't know if I'd want to go back to watching ROH, but again, I could. Just I think with NXT. I never really checked out Lucha Underground at all. I've never really checked out any type of Japanese pro wrestling, frankly, especially New Japan. And I know they've got the big show coming up on January 4th. So what should I do? I'm actually coming to you guys, and I want you to fight this out. I want you to sell me on what the Schleg Daddy should watch next for professional wrestling. What should I go back to watching? Or what should I start watching? I want you guys to tell me if it's a specific show, if it's a specific company. I'm willing to give anything a shot at this point. But I need good reasons. And frankly, I need to be convinced. And that's where I'm coming to you to convince me. I want you to sell me the Swag Daddy on what I should watch next. What other professional wrestling should I watch? Why? So why should I watch what you want me to watch and not somebody else's? I don't care. Argue it out. Piss on each other in the fucking comment section. I don't give a shit. I need your help, damn it.